Hey, everyone. Hi. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Alice.
Hey now.
Greg, what are you doing here?
Hey, what do you mean? Allison,
Where'd you come from, Greg?
I came from the world of Childish, and I just want to make sure that your listeners know that you're just as wonderful on the other podcast you do.
What if they don't have kids?
Don't need them. You don't need them. A lot of our listeners actually tell us they don't have kids. We talk about sex.
We talk about all sorts of dirty stuff,
Yeah.
but also parenting stuff.
Yeah, so.
Check out Childish. New episodes every Wednesday, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Childish, oh shit, maybe I should have gotten fixed.
Allison Rosen is your new best friend. Allison, with her good times never end. Allison Rosen, doing the wavy pencil dance again. Allison's your new best friend.
Hey, everyone. Hi. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Allison Rosen is your new best friend. I am delighted to bring in my guest, someone that you guys most likely know and love. And if you don't know and love him, you will by the end of this. I will bring him in a moment. But first, I must chat with producer Tony Thaxton, the bad boy of podcasting, to see what's been going on with him since we last talked and to fill him in on some stuff in my life. Hello, Tony.
Hello. Boy, it's just nothing but nonstop excitement over here at the Thaxton household. My beefy son, my beefy roommate, has gotten in this habit of... this doesn't usually happen, but now it's starting to be like once or twice a week where he wakes up at like 5:30 in the morning and really has to go outside. And... once that happens, then I'm just like, well, I'm just up now.
Yeah.
I can't go back to sleep once I do that. So I've been up since about 5:30 this morning today.
You're like in perfect position to have actual human children if you want to someday.
Yeah. All
Don't
right,
change
let's
your
go.
sleep patterns. You posted about this.
Yeah.
Cutest picture of your dog. And you said that he's in the habit of waking up the Thaxman at 5:30. And I just loved that you referred to yourself as the Thaxman. How frequently does this happen? It's like when Daniel accidentally called himself the Q Man. And I'm like, well, I'm never going to let you forget that.
Have I really never said that on here before?
You probably have, but I'd never seen it in writing.
It's been like somewhat of a... in like the last year or two... You know, it's become that thing where I say it ironically to be stupid, and then now it's kind of like it just comes out now a little too often. So I'm just kind of running with it.
Neat. Like when someone says anything kind of interesting, like, ooh, neat. That for me started ironically, and then it became just a part of my vocabulary.
Yep, I did that with tight as well.
Have you ever been a right-on person? I never have.
No, I don't think so.
Cool beans?
I feel like I'm sure it's left my mouth, but, you know, I feel, that or cool beans, those are probably just, you know, I'm sure it's been said, but not with enough frequency to become a habit.
Yeah. Have I ever told the story of when I did youth and government in high school? There was this girl she was very nice. I liked her a lot. But the complaint about her from a couple of the other girls was that girl says dude too much. And then she ran up a flight of stairs. And I remember with each time her foot hit a step, she said dude. So it was like dude. Yeah. And I've been, you know, the pandemic has given me so much time to navel gaze and think back on things from my past. And I'm wondering, as opposed to that just being a natural explosion of dudes, perhaps had she heard someone say that and she was like going to shove them down their throat.
Right.
I don't remember her name, but if I did, I would go look her up and I would ask, and she would not have any idea, but still.
Yeah, that's excessive. That feels like that has to be a bit.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What do I know?
I don't know. I don't know what you know or don't know.
I'll tell you. Not much.
So officially COVID free from our little COVID scare, our secondary exposure scare. where we had a babysitter who had been exposed. She went on to test negative, and then we all tested negative. And really, I was thinking this whole experience shows, like, there's a couple different conclusions that could be drawn from this, but perhaps one of them is that all that worry was for nothing. It all turned out okay. But that is not what I've taken from it. Instead, what I've taken from it is I need to be way more careful, vigilant, and nervous all the time. It really freaked me out.
It's hard to not get nervous about all this stuff.
Like so tomorrow was Daniel's birthday, and we're talking about going to Descanso Gardens. It's out, outside, should be totally fine. We're vaccinated. The children aren't, obviously. But I was thinking, well, there's no way I'm going to get through that whole experience without needing to go to the bathroom because I pee all the time. And, is that safe? So I texted Wendy, who comes on the show a lot, because she's more worried about everything than I am, historically has been. And she's like, oh, yeah, we go all the time. Just use the bathroom that's not as crowded. But this having to reconsider everywhere I go and being concerned about being indoors again, I was not like this for a good chunk of months there. And I miss that happy time when we didn't realize what we had, Tony.
I know. It was exciting, and I was kind of like slowly getting back in the world, and I wasn't freaked out at all. Like, I was just kind of even though I was kind of still not doing a ton, but I was going out, and I was just like, all right, I'm not really worried. And now I don't know what the hell to think.
I went to coffee with your friend and mine, I guess. I guess you're friends with her. I don't know what's happening here, but with Mary Lynn Rice Cub. Inside. We sat inside. Yeah. And I didn't wear a mask from my seat to the bathroom and back. That's the only time I've actually done that inside. But and so I thought, okay, well, maybe we're being hyper careful now, but everyone else is out there living their lives. But I'm noticing other people aren't being hyper careful as well. So I think most people are now back in this like, I don't know what's going on right now, so I got to play it safe realm.
Concern is definitely growing. Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah, it sucks real bad. It's pretty depressing.
And also, just to get real depressing and deep for a second, then we'll go back to casual things, because I need to ask my guest about cheese, because he posted about cheese just about an hour ago. And I don't think it is, but if this is really the end for our existence, this is not how I want to be spending my time. And I don't mean I don't want to be talking to you guys doing a show. That's fine. But like in general, there's a lot of things I do in the day that I would probably live it up in a different way. I don't know that I would be in Burbank.
Yeah. Well, it's just because again, it's scary. You don't know what you can do, what's safe. And and a lot of things are still kind of like not, I don't know. Some things are kind of closing down again, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. And I also don't know. Sorry, I'm just venting a little. I also don't quite know what news sources to trust.
Right.
Drudge, of course. Breitbart, yes. Fox News, sure.
Of course.
But for the rest of them, I don't really know. Like Newsweek had a pretty fear-mongering article this morning where the headline was like, Lambda variant could pose significant a potential risk to human society, researchers say.
Cool.
So that's fun. Anyway, on a lighter note, Tony, there's some flies inside my house.
I literally have two like right next to me right now. They're driving me crazy.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the heat. We can't figure out where they're coming in. I think probably when my assumption is when we go outside, they fly in.
That seems like a safe bet.
Yes, but there's the fear of like, what if they're emanating from, I don't know, some kind of vent or sink, or what if they're infiltrating our lives in some kind of way?
I'm guessing no. I'm thinking they fly in when you got the door open.
I sure hope not. I will tell you, because my millipede problem, 0. Seen neither hide nor hair of millipedes since I had the plant that was in our bedroom, since I removed it. No more millipedes. And, I'm on Patreon. Patreon.com/Allison Rosen. bonus episodes of the Friend Zone, weekly Zoom parties. There's a level where you can text me and I'll text you back. And anyway, one of the people who texts me, who's at that level, I call them my confidants, she told me that her coworker had a millipede on his desk. And she's like, move your plant. And he moved his plant. And now he no longer has a millipede problem. So what I'm saying is not only am I a recreational, built it from the ground up exterminator for myself and my own studio, I have now given, I'm like a resource for other people. It's incredible.
I'm speechless. That
You know what I'm speechless about? I just took a gandaroo at the time. We've been blabbing for 11 minutes while our guest has been in our green room, in our appointed green room. Thankfully, there's a nice spread and lots of drinks and pictures of other celebrities in there, and it's air conditioned. But I think it's time to bring him in. He is someone who's been on my show a number of times. Football analyst, writer, radio personality. You can hear him on the Extra Points Network, talking sports with Cousin Sal and Kevin Hench. Also on the -3 podcast. That's the one, I believe, with Kevin Hench. We'll get that sorted out when he joins. It is, put your hands together for Dave Dameshek.
Oh, my goodness. What a pleasure. It's been too long, Allison
It's
Rosen.
been
And we can't
so
even
long.
just blame it on COVID. Our absence from one another predates even the 19. Can I tell you guys hello, Thaxman?
Hello.
Can I weigh in on what I missed there over those 11 minutes?
Sure, yes, definitely.
First of all, Thaxman is bad, but not as bad as Q-Man. But even worse would be, I have a friend who I went to college with who we called, and I think we still call, I haven't seen him in a bit, Q. But then I was thinking recently, like, you can't really go with Q anymore because that's been taken by someone else, not unlike Delta Airlines. Must be miserable. Like, we got
Yes.
you took our name and now it's associated with poison. And same thing with ISIS. ISIS she used to be like, I don't know, was she like an ancient superhero lady I'm older than you guys, but she would fight on Saturday morning TV alongside Shazam. But then, the ne'er-do-wells on the other side of the country, they took ISIS. So that's no good. So that's
Right.
one thought. Two, do I say neat? Yes, you bet your ass I do. I also say swell. Next, Marilyn Rice Cub. What a name drop by Allison Rosen. The Thaxman didn't call you on it. I'm here to do it.
Thank
I'm
you.
used to it.
And lastly, go ahead.
Well, I don't want to interrupt your flow.
I don't know if this counts as a flow. I'm just going over my my
Your
jotted
notes.
down
Okay.
notes. And last one is, you say you wouldn't want to be in Burbank, and I hear that, and these sorts of things bring to the fore, like, wow, I want to enjoy every day going forward a little bit more than I have. I'm going to relish life a little bit. So then the question is, Allison, what do you wish you were doing? Where should you be if not in Burbank, kibitzing with the Thaxman and Dameshek right now?
I want to continue kibitzing with the Thaxman and Dameshek, but 3 people I follow on Instagram, former guest of the show, Arden Marine, guest of the show, Brian Safi, and Anna Hosnier, who is a producer on Arden's show. They were in Rhode Island for what seemed like weeks, and they were posting pictures of it, and it is so fucking cute. I've only spent a few hours in Rhode Island, but from looking at their posts, I guess I want to be in Rhode Island.
Okay, that's a good place to start. On the other side of the continental U.S., that's fine. My answer, I don't necessarily know where I'll be, but I've always said, like, I used to say when I was 20, when I get to 80, then I've moved it down to 75 and 70, and I'm considering making the move to 65 years young when the kids are out of the house. Heroin. I'm going hardcore. I'm going to go hardcore drug habit.
Yeah, I think we talked about that. I think we bonded over how we're both going to do heroin when we get old.
Yeah.
Except I have decided, because I had this conversation.
Do you know people in Rhode Island? Because that could be an issue. That could prevent you from going to Rhode Island if you can't score over there, I don't know if I
gotta
can
be able
score
to-
in LA, but I got to get to work on that.
You've got to be able to get it in Rhode Island, I'm sure.
Smack? I don't know. I don't know where you can find horse.
The injectable drug that I would do is Versed. And I don't even know if you can get that on the street. But that, I've talked about it on the show. Everyone knows I love Versed. Versed is the drug that they give you when they're prepping you for surgery. Oftentimes. Have you been under general? And have they given...
I've never gone under the knife.
You haven't?
No, never. Somehow, as I'm slow of foot, and I not anymore. Now I tear my Achilles if I tried to run for 20 feet. But even when I was playing sports, I think my lack of foot speed kept me safe versus my peers. I think other guys were moving so fast. It's like, oh man, he hurt his shoulder or he broke his arm. Like Dameshek wasn't going fast enough. Like, how badly can you hurt yourself if you're only going 1.5 miles an hour,
Have you had a colonoscopy?
No, I need to do that.
Yeah.
That's something else I need to do.
Well, I believe a colonoscopy they use Versed. So anyway, when you when you go under general, they give you a drug to relax you, and it is the most peaceful and ecstatic I have ever felt, and that is called Versed. So, and I think they
Sounds good.
I'm looking forward to my colonoscopy, and someone was like, "Yeah, they've lowered the age." So, put that camera up my butt.
You're hooked to colonoscopies, in other words.
I am
You're just
into
nobody
it.
understands that you're in there for the Versed. It's just, what is this? Wait, this Allison Rosen is back again? Another colonoscopy? What's going on here?
Didn't we
already?
just look in there?
I'm taking the spike for COVID. That's what I'm what I'm having other people inject for me at least twice so far.
Yes.
I wouldn't say I'm hooked on it, but so far the early returns have worked out.
I'm pretty excited. If I was so getting the vaccine was really a high point of this weird year and a half and more that we've had. So I think I have a sense memory of it being so exciting that if they announced a booster, I would be like, yes, I can't wait to go get it. And I don't really like needles in general, but I am excited for the booster.
Well, I mean, I listen. Thaxman, is that virtue signaling to announce it's sort of like a little bit like I'm glad I'm vaccinated, and also I've enjoyed Ted Lasso, but I feel like some people are getting a little crazy about it, it's like, all right, settle down about my wife is crazy about Ted Lasso, wants to talk about it all the time, and I was like, all right, I mean, I enjoyed it a great deal. Can we leave it at that? I don't know that it has overarching meaning for the human condition at this point. But that's maybe I'm being a cynic about it.
I wanted to ask you about Ted Lasso. I've only seen the first season. Have you seen the second season?
I keep falling asleep watching, which isn't an indictment of the show, just that the kids stay up a little bit too late, and I get a wine or two in me around that time, and it's a perfect storm for slumber on the couch.
Right.
So I get about 10 minutes in, and then I have to catch up.
I enjoyed the first season, but it was like a new religion for people who are
right,
super
that's what
into
Right.
religion. Yeah. I wasn't fanatical about it, but I will say, because one of the things we've talked about before is that sports doesn't really make sense. The fervor people have around sports, I've never really experienced that. And I think I asked you, what is the deal with sports? What's good about it? But watching Ted Lasso, I could feel what it is like to really care about a team. So I got it.
Well, see, this is a big step for you as someone who has denounced sports through and through. Did it hurt my feelings, given that I have largely built my adult life around said sports? Sure, it did. But you know what? It's water under the bridge. Yeah, that's right. What's good about sports is that they get what you need in life is, the Shawshank Redemption a little bit for you. You know how that Red and what's his name go back and forth the whole time about hope. And do you want hope, or is hope bad? Mm-hmm. You need a close cousin of hope is something to look forward to.
Yes.
And you need stuff to look forward to in life, whether it's the coming weekend, tomorrow night. Like when we're about to have to go back to school.
Doing heroin when you're 80.
Well, that's exciting. That's a good thing. But like, I have to go, around this time I start to get those pangs of like, ooh, a few more weeks and it's back to school time. And I'll never get over that, the horror of having to return to school, the bait and switch. It's quite sort of like what you and the Thaxman were just talking about there with like, you thought we were through with COVID and now we have to go back into it's the same thing. Like, wait, the man gave us summertime. It's like, wait, new rules. We don't have to go to school every day. And then all of a sudden, bait and switch. Guess what? Back to school.
Right.
You punks. And I never liked that. But what makes it okay, or at least helps you get through it, is like, hey, Monday Night Football's on. That's something to look forward to. And then on the weekend, there's that game. And then, 3 months from now, let's go see that team play. And that's something to look forward to. I really do sincerely, because I am a relatively vapid soul without a whole lot filling my head. I am fascinated and I lament for you, because I'm also an empath, as you know. I feel for you because you don't love sports. I don't know how you fill the hours in the day. They always say life is short. It's also long. And I don't know. The days must feel long when you don't have anything. Like as a sports fan, it's like, all we have is baseball. Oh, let's get to football already. And that's the downtime to me. What do your whole life is like, I don't care about any of these.
Well, I enjoy my children sometimes.
That's where we part ways sometimes. No, I kid.
I spend a lot of time on Twitter and Instagram. And I like to nap. And I get super into TV shows.
Okay.
I guess.
Okay. I do all those things besides nap. Okay.
I hear what you're saying.
But I also am aware of the vast delusion required to be a sports fan in the 21st century. As Jerry Seinfeld joked about rooting for laundry and everything else, that couldn't be more true. Like, right. As though a 23-year-old guy from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, cares about the Pittsburgh Steelers 1/10 as much as a dope like me does is, like I say, requires a fair amount of deluding oneself. But I do it anyway.
So I need to go back to something. When I said that Daniel referred to himself as the Q Man, I think he actually referred to himself as the Q Monster, which is
even better.
Even better, yeah. So Dave, you said that you still feel not good about going back to school, and I don't want to blow your cover, but you're not in school anymore. So you still feel it as strongly, even though you're not the one going to school?
Well, I also said I'm an empath, and so of course I can relate to the youngsters out there. I mean, and also I have 4 children too, which is stunning in itself as somebody who has known me for a decade now, Allison. It's got to be it's got to be an ongoing source of confusion for the women and for people at large to look at me and to interact with me and go like, how is the least macho man I've ever met in my life so very productive when it comes time to making the sex? You know, like when I make it count, Right. I've had it 5 times and it's produced 4 children. And so,
what happened?
Batting average, sure.
What happened that 5th time?
Well, I mean, listen, you can't hit a home run every time you're up at the plate. I know that's lost on you. That's a baseball.
No, I get it. I'm not that stupid. But I'm almost that stupid. So
you and my wife got to get together. It makes me crazy that I know who Kim Kardashian is. I know who all the Kardashian. Well, I don't know who they all are, but I know at least 3 of them. Well, I know Khloe.
Name all the
Khloe
Kardashians.
Khloe. There was. Well, see now now I'm caught. You've caught me in my lie. I can't name them. Khloe is the older one. And then who's been married or been with a bunch of NBA guys. Kim is the famous one. The father, what was his name? He was OJ's friend. And it would seem OJ is the father of Khloe. If you look closely, it doesn't seem like they had the same. But anyway, was there a Rob?
Yeah, so Robert Kardashian is the dad.
Robert Kardashian, and then there was Rob.
Then there's Rob, yeah. But there's many more Kardashian spawn.
There's one who's a model, right?
Yes.
Kylie. No, that's Kylie Jenner. Kendall. I don't know, but my point is I know some of them, and I know that Khloe was with with a basketball guy or three, and I know that I know that Kim was married to Kanye and all of that, and I don't care about their lives. It is therefore vexing to me that I cannot invoke any name, that there is no name in sports that rises to the level of my wife knowing who that is, short of Tom Brady. She knows if I say Tom Brady, and she could tell you LeBron James is a basketball player, and that's the end of it. Like that's where her list ends. She cannot go. There's no famous sports guy who she'd be like, well, yeah, of course we know. I know who. She wouldn't know who Mike Tyson is. She wouldn't know any of it.
Not Mike Tyson.
Yeah, that's a fun. You know what? You've just given me an idea. I have to start quizzing her.
Yeah.
On a microphone just to shame her, because that'll be good.
That's interesting. Your wife is not into sports.
Not at all. But I think that's good, isn't it?
Probably.
If our main hobby, or I mean, is it a hobby to watch other people do something? Because if it is, then watching sports is my hobby, also my job. But which is a sad thing to pass on to my children. Like, what do you? I watch grown-ups who are better at something than I am, and then I talk about what I think about what they did, as though I am in a position to weigh in on what they just did when I couldn't do 1/100th of what they just did, but I'm still going to criticize.
Well,
them
that's all commentators,
I suppose. But yeah, it would be weird if we both loved that. I don't know. What's your old man into? What's the Q Monster into?
Q Monster. When I met him, he was pretty into watching sports. He hasn't watched a lot lately, but he understands sports and he likes watching them. I don't know if I've beaten it out of him. I don't know what it is. I don't know why we don't watch a lot.
Physically?
Lately. What?
Physically, you beat it out of him?
I did, yeah.
I told you about this dumb stuff on my TV.
That's right. I just wanted to condition him. I wanted him to associate sports and pain.
I see.
And I think it worked.
Pavlovian.
I think his team is the Eagles.
See, that's what you should know. You could at least. That's what I said to my wife. I don't care if you know. I certainly don't expect you to sit here and watch. I'm not trying to torture you. I'm not trying to see how deep your affection runs via your interest in my teams. But there is a minimum standard. Shouldn't you know? Shouldn't she know? Shouldn't you know what is, upsetting me or giving me glee? It's a little upsetting if my wife couldn't tell you that Dave loves the Steelers and the Penguins, as my team. Like, that'd be a little bit of a bummer. I hope she would know that much.
I think he likes the Eagles and the Ravens. Would it make
you're not allowed to like both of them.
Okay.
Listen, this isn't, I'm stepping in. I'm sure your audience doesn't give a junk about this. Well, weigh in, Thaxman. Is this good? Thaxman, is this good or bad? To talk about
I
sports?
am personally surprised right now because I wouldn't have pegged Daniel to have ever really been a sports guy.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of intrigued right now.
Let's talk about rock and roll. That's what you guys do. I'm interested in that. Or, well, listen, I'm not taking your show over.
I know you can take my show. Well,
you can't like the Eagles and Ravens. They're two birds who live in close proximity to one another. You don't get to choose two teams from one sport. Choose one, and that's it.
Yeah, and
Or
isn't he
shame
he's from Arizona originally, right?
Yeah, but
So he should be another bird.
no, but his dad is from Philadelphia.
Okay.
I know he also in college stuff he likes USC because he went there
Right.
Okay,
for
that's
film
allowed.
school. Yeah, he's more into film and art and stuff than sports, though. But he does have this sports part of him. And then my brother-in-law is very into sports. So when the two of them get together, boy, do I not like to overhear all that talking that I can't get a word in edgewise and I don't understand what they're saying. But
that's kind of the thing. I get into people who like to. I like to lay into them. About declaring in public forums amidst conversation about, like, when it's May 4th, may the 4th be with you and whatever. And, we can debate whether or not Star Wars movies should belong to kids. But, there's a nostalgia for people of a certain age with them and they hold them dear, and right or wrong, they love them. I love the guy who has to weigh in on social media. Never got into Star Wars. Mm. No one gives a good goddamn. No, okay, then don't involve yourself in the conversation. But I also wonder, to the point about, like, wait, who is I don't know who Matthew Stafford is. I don't know who that is. Like, but then you get same thing as not knowing about Star Wars. You leave yourself out of conversations. Isn't it bothersome to you to like, I don't know what they're talking about, and therefore I'm vain. And so I would hate the feeling of like I'm being left out of this conversation and I can't participate. So it requires me to have an opinion on these things and to be able to weigh in, or else I would feel really sad sitting there and not have any ability. Do you feel this limits you, Allison?
Not perhaps at times. I felt like it did. I don't anymore. I mean, it's not like we're all sitting at a table and the two of them are talking about sports. Like they kind of go off in there and they have their sports corner. And it'd
be fun. You know what you should do on your show? If all of you guys don't like sports, then you should have a fantasy football league this year. That would be funny to follow along, wouldn't it? You just have to draft them based on see how anybody does.
But the Thaxman enjoys sports. Thaxman, right?
All right.
I'm not a huge sports guy, but I watch football, and I'll usually just watch like postseason baseball.
How much Thaxman have you missed as a musician yourself? How much have you missed going to Los Angeles's great venues to see bands play?
A fair amount, but in all honesty, more so the actual just not being able to be the one playing.
To play. You miss that more. I guess that stands to reason.
For sure.
But yeah,
because I toured for so much of my life that, in all honesty, I don't end up necessarily going to shows a lot of the time just because I've spent so much of my life at them. So I feel like a lot of times if I'm at them, I kind of prefer to just be playing them.
On a bus, or did you have like a luxury bus like you see in movies, or did you have to like stuff into a van like the Ramones did in the early days?
Well, both. In the early days, a van, and then moved up to a bus. Yeah.
Is that miserable, or is it sort of some of your best memories?
A little bit of both. You know, it's a lot easier to do the van thing when you're 24 or whatever.
Ain't that right? Ain't that right? What you can stand, that's something I have realized over the last decade. The stuff that you could stomach when you were like 24, not bat an eye at. I like the idea of sharing a hotel room with somebody makes me want to throw up. The thought of it is so vile to me. And people are like, what happened to you? Like, I mean, am I the weirdo? I feel like, I have less tolerance than I ever have, and it's not like I ever suffered, surrounding characters all that much. But at this advanced age, I really am like, just please. I used to go to South by Southwest when it was primarily a music festival, and I wrote about music. I went like for 9 years, and there would be like 8 of us in a hotel room. I remember sharing a bed with so many people and then getting out of the bed and trying to walk to the bathroom and stepping over people to get to the bathroom. And that was just what you did. Or going to another city and crashing on someone's couch. That was also what you did. Thank you to any of it.
No, thank you.
Yeah. Right. It really feels... I can't. I look back at myself and wonder what I was thinking. I would never be able to do that anymore.
I can't take a red-eye flight anymore. The last time I did it felt unsafe. I was too out of it.
Well, I feel like the biggest jerk in the world on the red eye because I'm the only one who doesn't sleep on them. So I put the light on, and then everybody makes the noises. Like they don't say directly, "Excuse me, we're trying to sleep." They just that whole thing, and then I feel shamed out of it. You know. So then again, back to my empathy. I turn the light off, and then I'll just sit. I mean, I haven't been on a red eye in probably 2.5, 3 years, but I hate it, and I just sit in the chair in darkness because I can't look at anything because there's no lights, and I just sit there and I suffer in the tedium of each second, and I feel it tick off, and I always swear to myself, this is the last red eye you ever do. There's no way you can ever, and then every like 3-4 years, I get sucked back in. There are good sides of that too. I don't usually eat donuts, and I forget how delicious they are. And then every 6 months or a year, like I come across one, I'm like, I taste one, I'm like, man, I got to eat more donuts, you know. But I forget, and then I don't do it for a long time.
What kind of donut brings you back usually?
Buttermilk. Buttermilk is the best donut. I like a powdered cream. Of course, the big division when it comes to donuts. There are a few items out there that point to self-esteem issues for people, and they lay bare that people have weird self-worth stuff going on.
I cannot wait to hear this.
One is the cake donut. In a world of cake donuts, who would choose a raised donut? That person's a weirdo.
Okay.
A pancake in a world that has waffles. Waffles come with nice little cups to hold the syrup for you. Why are you going to rough it and go with a pancake? Now, listen, if you're putting chocolate chips in it, if they're extraneous, what's the word I'm looking for? Circumstances. But that aside, who goes to the drugstore and buys, in a world of extra strength Tylenol? Why would you buy the regular strength?
Yes.
Be like, nah, I'm not worth the extra.
Yes.
I'm not worth the who deprives themselves of that? And lastly, two and from the fruit world. In a world of apples, people eat pears. In a world of delicious yellow and white peaches, people eat tangerines. Those people are all weirdos or have self-worth issues.
A lot to address here, Dave. You have teed up a lot. I will tell you that red delicious apples came up in a children's book. The Q Monster told me about this. He was reading Elliot, that's my 4-year-old, a book. And Elliot was like, red delicious. And he seemed very taken with this. And then, the Q Monster told him that they're actually not that good. And he's like, but it says delicious. Like it's right in the name. Right. He couldn't understand the red delicious are such a tease.
It's true that you can really ride that for a long time. If you put that into your name, like if you embed it into your name, people are pretty lazy. They'll just take your word for it. And so that's a clever move by the delicious red. But to your point, there are better varietals out there. Number one right now, the envy apple. What the envy apple is doing, like any other fruit, like any other apple, the envy apple should take a few months off. It's only fair. It's got to have a little swoon to make you appreciate the good times, but it's not doing that. It's not abiding by those rules. They're not in the Constitution. They're just gentlemen's agreements among the fruits. Like you should take a couple months off, as it turns out. Envy is just giving the finger to those rules. It has been delicious for 15 straight months. I mean, we're sitting here in August, and the envy apple is as delicious as it was in January. I don't know what to make of it, except I'm just happy to be on the big blue marble at a time when the envy is available to us.
Snapchat.
Is there backlash against the envy for not honoring the gentleman's agreement that the other apples have agreed to?
Well, I mean, I can't get in the head of every fruit out there. I will say, as you may recall, Allison, at the end of every year, I give out the Shecky Awards. Mm-hmm. They're the Academy Awards that address movies, and Grammys do music, and then I take care of everything else. And the granddaddy of them all is Fruit of the Year.
Yeah.
And 2 years ago, right around this time, we hadn't even gotten to Labor Day yet, and the reigning champ that year was the white peach. And I found it distasteful. I felt like it had spent the ensuing months after its Shecky Award partying, not keeping its eye on the ball, enjoying the spoils of its championship. And I sent a shot across the bow of all fruits. And I announced even before Labor Day, the white peach is out of contention for Fruit of the Year. It's disgraced itself, and it's disgraced the world of fruits, thereby delivering the message to everyone else. You better up your game. And coincidence that fruit 2021 has been a remarkable year for fruit already, and we're just now getting towards autumn. Go get yourself a yellow peach, watermelon, divine right now. We've had some great honeydew out there. The red seedless grape is very nice, as it usually is. I mean, these are heady days for fruit lovers out there.
You know what I've discovered? A grape that I had overlooked. There's a black seedless grape.
Ooh, you don't say.
Yes, and it is very good because I got burned on some green seedless grapes that were like, I don't know, like sour and gross. That's how I would describe it.
That's, you know what? I'm glad you brought that one up. That's another one to add to the list. Who buys green grapes in a world of red grapes? So that's
Right.
weird. Do we need green grapes? If you love white wine, I guess the answer is yes. But, that aside, why eat the green when the reds are right there for you?
Well, I always thought that the reds were not as good, and it turns out I was wrong. I think I could be wrong. I think that white wine is not made with green grapes.
You're kidding me.
Am I? Or is it that golden raisins are not made with green grapes? Something that you'd think is made with green grapes is not.
You're flipping me out.
I know. I don't mean to make you feel like you're.
You want me to flip you out right now?
Yes, please.
I learned this about 2 years ago, and it's still my favorite factoid or whatever they call it. You know the orange, right? Everybody, you've had an orange.
Yeah.
Because I was belly aching, I know. Listen, I know what Allison is thinking. Like, boy, Dave, you said a lot's changed and life is long, but you haven't updated any of the things you talk about since last we spoke 5 years ago. But, it is what it is.
I haven't either.
Well, good. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So we park our cars in the same garage.
Yeah.
I was belly aching at the time, speaking of grapes, that there is a fruit called the grapefruit. Never mind that there's already a fruit called grape. Who was allowed to get away with this laziness at the fruit factory that was like, yeah, let's just call it a grapefruit. Let's get out of here. The weekend's here, everybody. Let's hit the bars. Like, whoa. There's already a fruit called grape. And by the way, it looks nothing like the grapefruit. We cannot have this. The confusion it'll cause. They just went ahead and did it anyway.
It makes no sense.
It makes no sense is the answer. So I was belly aching about that, and then I got interested in where fruits got their names, and I learned that the orange, I started to bellyache about that one. I said, talk about a little lazy name for a fruit. The orange, they just named it after the color. Dig this. The color orange is named after the fruit orange.
What?
That's a fun fact.
Amazing.
I mean, is there anything better than hearing that one? I mean, that's pretty crazy, right? The fruit predates the naming of the color. I mean, I don't.
It's hard to even imagine a time before the color had a name.
What were they doing? What were they doing up until that point?
And
was the world, in fact, because we always see it in movies and photographs
Yeah.
in black and white, perhaps the world was literally black and white until, relatively recently in man's recorded history.
Right. And in what language did that happen?
That's a great question.
Certainly
I mean,
wasn't English.
I'm not that aggressive a researcher. I only go so deep. But yeah, I was blown away by that fact.
Listen, I need to talk to you more about apples because I don't know if you're aware that I hold a very controversial opinion. I think we've talked about it on Twitter. It has gotten me kicked out of many societies and ruined many relationships I've had. So I want to get into that. But first, I need to talk about Raycon wireless earbuds, which you're like, let's talk about rock and roll. I have been listening to, I've always loved Heart. But I have really, as Daniel said, I've gone down a heart hole. I cannot, specifically the song Magic Man. I just listened to it over and over, and I'm like, everything that every specific instrument line is amazing. It's blowing my mind. I know I sound like everyone's mom or dad at this point, but it's just, and I listened to it on my Raycon wireless earbuds that are super comfortable. They come with like different little earpieces so you can get a really good fit. They have a great charge time. No matter how you're feeling about getting back out there, there's no denying it's an adjustment. When the world gets too loud, something I love to do is create my own soundtrack by only listening to Heart's Magic Man over and over and over and over and over. And then I also listen to some other songs, but mostly it's this one song right now. by popping in my Raycon wireless earbuds. Raycons have a 32-hour battery life, so you can listen to what you want when you want for a really long time. They start at half the price of other premium audio brands, but they sound just as good. And Raycons come with a 45-day happiness guarantee, so you really can't lose. Give them a try. You'll see what I mean. Create your own soundtrack with Raycon. Right now, Allison Rosen is your new best friend listeners can get 15% off their Raycon order at buyraycon.com/bestfriend. That's buyraycon.com/bestfriend to save 15% on Raycons. buyraycon.com/bestfriend. Okay. Dave.
My 5-year-old daughter loves hearing over and over again Barracuda. So
It's
you
such a
two
good
could definitely
song.
Hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She and I should hang out.
Bum bada bum bada bum bada bum 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 bum.
Well, Magic Man has like kind of a similar driving groove. It has a neat groove. Anyway,
It's featured in a movie. What is it? And it's a disturbing scene, as I remember. It's somebody. Oh, it's in. Actually, it's in Swingers. Now that I think about it,
oh, I don't remember.
it's also like used in a dark scene in a movie. Anyway, sorry to interrupt. Go.
That's okay. All right. So this, I tweeted about this a while ago, and I think you got drawn into it as the resident fruit expert, but I don't think Honeycrisp apples are that great.
Okay, explain yourself.
I just never bit into one and experienced the fruitgasm that it seems that everyone else has. I would opt for a Gala or a Fuji. Those are, I think those are great. I think I've probably had an Envy as well. But I just, I don't know. The Honeycrisp is fine, but everyone else, and I don't know if you're one of these people, I think you might be, acts like it's like a cut above and it's a whole different sensation. And, you know, oh my God, it makes me look at apples in a new way. And I've just never experienced that. Similarly, and this actually makes me wonder, am I missing some kind of receptor on my taste buds or something? Cotton candy grapes. I've never been like, oh my God, it tastes like cotton candy. To me, it just tastes like a grape.
Oh, well, then now I know there's something afoot with your tongue.
Okay.
Because I hear you on the Honeycrisp. Like, maybe you've been spoiled by the Envy, as I have for all other fruits, because when you ate that Honeycrisp would be everything. If you ate it in May, it's probably not going to be that good. You got to eat it in its figurative and literal sweet spot. I think it's all right. The cotton candy grape, though, that makes me worry, because whether you think it's too gimmicky, you know, for this analyst's taste buds, I don't know what goes on. I don't know what voodoo they put on those things. But one thing's for sure, it tastes exactly like cotton candy to me. I can't believe it. I can't get over how it tastes like. You know what else I've been eating a lot of that tastes crazy, that takes you on a journey in your mind? Have you tried Kettle Chips dill flavor?
No.
You take a bite, it doesn't taste like a dill pickle. It tastes like an entire kosher deli. Somehow I take a bite and I'm like, whoa, I get like half-second visions of being with my grandparents in Harrisburg, PA or something, like in a deli, like, whoa, and then I come back to reality, but then I eat another one, and I keep taking these journeys into my past.
It is crazy what they can do with chips and chip flavors. We got to bring the Thaxman into this, because I don't know that he and I have discussed a lot, specifically the insects in my bathroom and COVID. And sometimes we get into just raging fights over my unplugging the equipment in my studio. I've gone into the reasons why I do that. But Tony, I don't know how you feel about fruit.
Very well. On the Honeycrisp front, I am one of those people that love a Honeycrisp.
Really?
Yeah.
What is so good about it?
I don't know. Overall, I feel like it just has way more flavor than other. Now, to be fair, I think there are probably others that I just still haven't even had. I'm not sure I've ever had an Envy apple.
Oh, well, you got to hunt it down. What isn't available all the time is the Cosmic Crisp, but like in January, February, you can get it. Taste that. It tastes almost like a cherry as much as it does an
Really?
apple. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh no, it's fine. I don't. My fruit knowledge is definitely not strong. Because I've also never had cotton candy grapes. I don't even think I knew those were a thing until like a year ago.
Yeah, people get so excited about them.
And
I'm not one of
then I feel, what was the other thing you brought up? There was another food you brought up that I feel like you said something and my opinion was different.
Grapefruit sucks. Pomegranate sucks.
Yeah.
Pomegranate with that hard shell and those little chalky baubles that come out of it that don't taste that good and aren't that satisfying. I don't understand the charm of the pomegranate. And the one that really baffles me that everybody seems to love besides me is the mango. I don't get that texture.
Oh, I love
Seems
mango.
like it's bad. Every bite I take, it's like, is this supposed to have this texture? That can't be right. Seems
Yeah.
mealy and gross to me.
There's something granular and stringy about it, but it's a good flavor.
Yeah, I like
No,
the
I don't even like
flavor
that.
more than the actual fruit. Like, you know what I like is like you can get like bags of like dried mango. That's what I like.
Maybe I'll give that a try.
That's
I-
a real
so far-
workout for your jaw.
It is. But hey, what else do I
I
have?
heard you talk about the millipede.
Yes.
Millipede. I didn't even know those happened out here, but those things are the grossest, and it reminded me, sports related. I like to think about the teams. There's now the Cleveland baseball team is now the Guardians because they can't be the Indians anymore, and so they changed their name. And then it made me think about that, and a lot of people don't like it. But millipede makes my list of animals that are so vile that you could never even name a team after them. Like you could have a killer animal. You could have, like people have sharks and people have tigers and all that kind of stuff. There are even like variations of snakes. There's the diamondbacks and cobras and all that, but like can't have tapeworm. You couldn't be the Phoenix tapeworms.
You're right.
I love those. Or like most rodents don't make it. Like you couldn't be the weasels. Couldn't be, a lot of bugs don't make it. Roaches, obviously. I said tapeworm, but really any kind of a worm.
Tapeworm
wouldn't
is
be
an
good.
especially disgusting worm,
It
though,
seems
I think.
really gross. Yeah,
Yeah.
It seems like you wouldn't want. I don't know what the logo would be, but so we can't even go that far down that direction because just on tapeworms, we can't name our team that.
No. No tapeworm, no heartworm. That's about the extent. Oh, I think there's something called a whipworm. No, thank you.
Ooh, just virus. That's a living thing. Like bacteria. Like you couldn't be that. Like you get real little molecular. You
Right,
can't
like,
have-
we're the paramecium. Couldn't be that.
No, nobody. That wouldn't make any sense to do that. That'd be dumb.
Listen, you guys, if you are feeling depressed or struggling with uncertainty or having difficulty sleeping or meeting your goals, BetterHelp offers online professional counselors who can listen and help. You guys know I am a big fan of therapy. It's helped me immensely, and I think that it can help like anyone who is open to it. And this past year and a half, it's been tough to get in with a new therapist. They have very long wait lists, and BetterHelp is a great option. I have a couple friends who are doing BetterHelp right now, and they both have benefited so much. One of my friends felt that for the first therapist that she was matched with, she didn't know that it was the right match. And one of the things that I love about BetterHelp is that if you feel like it's not a good match, you can change therapists as many times as you want, no extra charge. So you don't have to feel like, I don't know about you guys, but for me, the first time I went to therapy, one of the things I was a little bit nervous about was, what if I don't like the therapist? How do I deal with that? And I think that's a common thing to feel like, I don't want to be committed. You won't be with BetterHelp. They'll get you to the right person. It's more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available. And so many people have been using BetterHelp. They're recruiting additional counselors in all 50 states. Our podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and our listeners get 10% off their first month of online therapy at betterhelp.com/bestfriend. Visit BetterHelp, BetterHelp.com/bestfriend, and join the over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced BetterHelp professional. Okay, so I do have questions that people have sent in on Patreon, so I want to get to those. But first, I do want to just do a little catching up. So you were at the NFL Network, but you're not anymore, right?
No, I was there for a decade.
What happened?
I parted ways with them. I went in with. I always say that to be saccharine. I say it all the time, though. when I was 21, right when I got out of college, my friend and I got a place a block north and a block east of Wrigley Field, which is a ballpark where the Chicago Cubs play baseball, and they face another team that comes to visit them, and they play there. Just to color in some of those details for you.
Thank you.
And we would sit around late at night, and our pals would come over who had also moved up to Chicago. And I had what was then a banner idea, I thought. I said, let's all, like, Chicago's expensive, and it's hard making your way in your early 20s and getting the gig. I said, what if we did this? Let's choose the worst place in America that we could possibly go, like Terre Haute, Indiana, or I don't know where, but the worst place we could go. So we'll all be equally miserable by the choice, but we'll have each other. And whatever we do, we'll rule that town in about a decade. Like, we'll take it over. We'll have every base covered from, we'll own all the restaurants and, all the one of us will be mayor and everything. The point was that whatever you do, if you get to do it with your pals, you're cheating life. And whatever it is, working in a bank, flapping your gums into a microphone about sports or otherwise.
Or fruit.
So Sal, my guy Sal, started up his company. It was just too good an opportunity to get to working with Kevin Hench and a bunch of other fellas and women over there who I like and have gotten to be friends with over this past year. It's heaven. It's the best. And specifically, as I'm sure you've picked up, a lot of these networks, I don't know how much you follow sports, but in general, network as a model for delivering, entertainment or sports or otherwise is kind of going down. It's very murky now. So I feel like I'm kind of ahead of the curve and in on a different way going forward here. For as long, I don't know, what do I have? Like 15, 20 years left before I start with the heroin. So as long as I can reach that point, I'll feel like I made a wise choice here.
I mean, I think last I heard you were lowering the age to 60. So
Right. Yeah, well, I'm at 60. Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see how these next few years go. If things don't go right, I might accelerate my introduction into heroin.
So I do a podcast with Greg Fitzsimmons. You know Greg, right?
Yeah, very funny. Yeah.
And we just recorded, and he was saying he wants to check out around 76 years old. And I was like, what? No, I'm greedy. I want to live into my mid to late 90s. And then he pointed out, really? Are you enjoying life that much? And I was like, fuck no, I'm not. But I still want to hang on for as long as I can. He really made the case for like leaving the party early.
It's not the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. I think that it occurred to me that we aren't paying attention to the details. Like as soon as I turned 40, like the week I turned 40, I suddenly couldn't see anymore. And in the ensuing, I had to get glasses. Yes. Like those things start to happen. And like, I remember, growing up and even in my 20s or whatever, movies and TV shows, a stock joke of something to do with hangovers. Oh, hangovers are so bad. And I was like, I don't. Is this a real thing for that many people? And suddenly I got to be about 40 or thereabouts. Suddenly, now I get it. I get it all the way now.
Wait,
these things. The work, but like even I got hair. My ears growing a mustache or something. Like I don't know. Like why are there hairs? Like they tell you like you lose your hair as you get older. Okay, I was aware of that. Nobody told me that. By the way, your outer ear is going to try to grow permanent at some point.
Are you claiming that you hadn't experienced a hangover till 40?
I mean, I maybe overdid it. Not a hangover, more like, I was 20 and they bought shots and it got away from me and I had too many and I didn't feel well from that. Maybe, but that was once or twice in my life that I ever really get. It's one of the great things that the drinking gods dealt me was that I am as drunk. If I have a beer or a drink, that's as drunk as I'll be the rest of the night. I am immediately drunk. If I drink like 2/3 of a beer, I'll be like, whoo, I feel that immediately. but that's exactly how drunk I'll be the remainder of the evening, which is
That
kind
is
of a
good.
gift.
That really is good. Yeah. I remember wondering, am I hungover? What does a hangover feel like? I think I'm thirsty. I was definitely not hungover. I mean, that was when I was,
You were pregnant.
well, pregnancy does feel like a hangover. That is what morning sickness feels like. I think I expected it was just going to be that you feel nauseated, but it's a whole body hangover sensation. Okay.
It is a great thing. It is a great thing, though. I know people have made cracked wise about this forever, but it really is true. If it were men's responsibility, the population of Earth would drop by about 90%. Like I would have a baby. I probably would do it once just to be like, all right. But then that's the end of it. Again, to do it a second time. I mean, that sounds insane. I'm only around for, I keep vacillating between short life, long life, but my percentage of time on Earth is limited enough that I can't devote 2 separate chunks of 10 months plus beyond with the bosom and keeping the milk nice for him and everything else. You're talking about like 15 months every time of no booze. I mean, that seems insane to me. I couldn't abide by that. But to Fitzsimmons' point, it's interesting. The thing that hit me only recently is, like, people don't tell you, is, if I walk into a room now, that feeling of, not like I'm on the prowl or anything, but it is eye-opening when you kind of start to sense, like, there was a time when you walk into a room and you feel like, hey, I wonder if any of these young women might be interested in what the Thaxman's got going. Oh, wait, I'm not the Thaxman. Or whatever my name is.
You're the Shek man.
Right, Shek. Yeah, I'm the Shek Monster. Is the Shek Monster looking good to any of these ladies? When you realize that there is only one reaction to you, which is like, oh, yeah, he's a middle-aged guy. Like, he's just an older guy. Like, there is not a consideration in a 25-year-old woman's head at all about anything other than, like, no reaction. Like, yeah,
Right.
it's an older guy. Well, what do you want me to say about that guy?
feel
That's
invisible.
sad, but even worse is we're about to move into being empirically old. Not you, me. I'm about to just be like that, where that won't matter if you're 50 or you're whatever. People any age will look at you like he's an older man. Like, that's just what it'll be. Like, it'll just be, I won't be decrepit, I hope. I won't be on a cane or anything, but by any measure, it'll be like, yeah, he's an older gentleman now. Like, and that's not 25 years away. I'm going to take that look on.
I know.
A lot of my
I know
friends
exactly
are already
what you
gray and balding and everything. It's terrible, but it's coming for me. It's coming for all of us if we're lucky enough to even make it there.
I know exactly what you mean. I've been doing a lot of sort of adjusting to, like, okay, so, because when I lived in Orange County, I was the youngest one of all of our friends. So my friends are, I have friends who are like 5 to 10 years older, and I look at pictures of them and I'm like, we're all starting to look old/older. This is who we are now. And there's still a lag between seeing that, recognizing that those are the trappings, or the, that's an older looking person in that photo that is my friend. By the way, if any of my friends are listening, I'm not talking about any of you. I'm talking about other people that you don't know. And making sense of it, because it still takes me a moment, because I don't envision us that way. I don't think of us
I'm
as
glad that you
middle-aged.
even include yourself in there, because I really have a hard time. It's the same thing, I guess, as death itself. Like, we can all, our intellect, the human intellect, allows us to indulge all sorts of realities and otherwise, and theories. The one thing we cannot fully grasp is the end of ourselves. We
Right.
can see everybody. We cannot grasp the world without us anymore, and our little points of view of, like, literally, as I sit in this chair and I see this picture, and when Allison Rosen or the Thaxman ever comes into my brain again, I will always go to my literal point of view of looking like, I remember talking to them. Yeah, it was in the evening and it was kind of golden hour out. And it's that specific memory. You remember doing something with your grandmother, and other people might have been there, but only you saw it with your eyes, with your literal eyes, and you're recording them, and your memories go away. When you go, there will be no one else to replicate those memories. Oh, as long as those younger than you and your family remember you, you're never really gone. Yeah, to them, but those memories ain't going to be there. Those things, it's hard to conjure the elimination of those from the world.
I know.
It's why we beat all the other beasts on the planet Earth, is because of our brains, but that's the limitation of our own intellect, is that, right?
That's right. And with me claiming that I want to make it to like 95, 98, how much of my brain is going to, make it there? Is it going to be like, did I check out at 82, but I'm still hanging around to 98? I'll take it.
And if you're aware you've lost your mind, is that going to be good? Well,
Probably not.
I don't know if that'll be fun, to be kind of a little bit loopy, or.
Well, I'll be doing heroin then.
All right.
So-
right. See? Thank God. This is going to be great.
All
We
right.
just got to find somebody who can provide for us, because I don't know, because we'll be two old people and we're going to be out on the streets like, hey, come on over here. I mean, I don't even know how you hook that. Thaxman, you're in the music community. You'll hook us up, right? You'll steer us in the right direction.
Yeah, that's totally my scene. Yeah.
Keith Richards will still be around. If you
Yeah.
could put a call into him, maybe he could steer you in the right direction and help us out.
All right. I have some questions that listeners sent in on Patreon. Let's ask those.
Patreon.
When we ask, they send them in. They're wondering how you have been. So thanks so much for answering these questions from our fans.
Okay. Jen Hershey says, how are baby Oprah and John Claude Van Dameshek doing? They must be teenagers by now, but I still think of them as little kids.
I didn't know they were specific to me. How nice.
Yes.
They're just the best. They're rays of sunshine all the time for me. Baby Oprah is not 18 or in her 20s or anything, but she is about to go into high school now. She's 14. Jean-Claude Van Dameshek thriving as well in middle school. Well, they're about to both go back into schools for the first time in forever. And between them and the two little ones, I keep saying to people when they ask, like, how's the last of COVID been for you? I'm like, yeah, I know it's bad for a lot of families and has really been ruinous, but it's kind of been nice. Like I spend time with these four bums all the time. What am I going to complain about? It's been, I really do weirdly think 10 years, 20 years, but then I'll be into the heroin again. But until then, I really will be like, I kind of miss COVID. That was a good, for us, this house was a lot of fun because it meant, unlimited time with the most important people. So what am I complaining about?
How old are the little ones?
They're like, I think they're both like under 18 or something like that. They're 5, girl 5, and 7-year-old boy.
Oh, same age difference as my little kids.
Is that right? Yeah.
Okay. Ray Morgan wants to know which teams have the best and worst uniforms in 2021.
Wow. Well, that's a powerhouse question, and you've come to the right place. The Las Vegas Raiders still have, probably the gold standard, even though it's silver and black, of uniforms. The one that I really fancy, my cross to bear as a sports fan who looks at who watches games, pretty religiously night in and night out. My least favorite teams in sports wear some of the best uniforms. The Philadelphia Flyers wear this smart orange and black getup that looks straight out of 1975, and it makes me swoon every time I see it, and they are my most hated team in any sport. Same goes for the New York Islanders. Glorious uniforms. I hate the Penn State Nittany Lions. Love those spare white and dark navy getups that they wear out there. The Steelers have among the best. I don't just say that as a Steelers fan. Dodgers home whites, crisp and clean with that blue, with that electric blue and that red number on the jersey. Inexplicable that it's there, but it makes those uniforms sing. Yankees. I mean, people like the pinstripes, and those are cool, but the road grays that are again, very spare, and all they just say on them is New York. I like that. For me, for some reason, that would be a reason for intimidation, and I think there is where I'll go. Bad uniforms. Let's not get too down. It's more the weird names that bother me. Like you have the Minnesota Wild is like the hockey team named after like Wild, as in outdoors. That's what they're named. They're the Minnesota Outsides. The Wild.
Yeah.
Makes no sense. And the grammatical conundrum that it presents. That is it. The Wild is good. Well, no, there are 20 of them, so they are good. The Wild are good, but then grammatically it doesn't really hit the ear quite right. So I don't like those. The Brooklyn Nets are a good basketball team, but they're named Nets. It is, again, very lazy. They're like, well, we need something with basketball. It should be sporty. Like balls? No. Weird message. Can't be the ball. Rims? Also maybe. Maybe I'm being a little too touchy here. The floors? Too dumb. Like, well, all that's left is the Nets. Fine. Go with it. The Nets? That's what you came up with? The Nets?
Yeah.
Awful.
I forget if you already answered this. Ray would also like to know which fruit is winning Fruit of the Year this year.
Well, I mean, I can't really say. I don't divulge that. I gave you some August front runners, and that's where the conversation ends. I mean, I'm not going to tip my hand because you know what? I'm just a human being, and if I go too far on one fruit, I'll talk myself into it here in August, and that wouldn't be fair to the fruits who probably are mounting their autumn campaigns as we speak. And I'm not going to turn my nose up at them.
I respect your integrity.
Thank you.
You said I'm not going to tip my hand, and that reminded me, since we have been talking about language stuff, on my show, on my Thursday show, which is a group show, which I hope you'll come on the Thursday show. You'd be great on the Thursday show. But I said something about tip your mitt. And everyone's like, what? Do you mean tip your hand?
Mitt.
Have you never heard tip your mitt? It is a real phrase.
Mitt, like baseball mitt?
Yeah. Like drop the ball, I think.
I've never heard it. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Oh, my
I've never
God.
heard it, though.
I figured you two sports fans would have heard of it. Tone Zone. Will you look it up, please? Tip your mitt is definitely a phrase. Should I ask another question while you look it up, or should we just wait, which is fine with me?
No, I got something here. It says tip your mitt is an expression made up by podcaster Alice Rosen. I know. It says to tip your mitt is to acknowledge someone's accomplishment or status.
What? Oh, like to doff your cap? That's wrong. Where are you getting this from? Are you getting this from Bullshit Monthly? I told you not to go there.
Where would you like me to get it from? I literally gave you just like the top Google results.
Well, where is that from?
That is from quickanddirtytips.com.
No, let me look this up. Tip, like from, I don't know, some language thing. Tip your mitt.
Let's see.
Tip your mitt meaning in English. Tip one's mitt. U.S. slang. To reveal a secret, one's plans, etc., often inadvertently.
I mean, it seems like that would be a newer one, and I don't know that we do new cliches. It seems like they all were invented, or somebody said them 200 years ago, and we just continue to throw them out there despite the fact that we don't know what they mean. The whole 9 yards is for instance. Like for me, I was a whole 9 yards. Even if you get every inch of the 9 yard, you still need another yard for the first down. Oh, no, it doesn't have to do with football at all, as it turns out.
I don't think
maybe tip your mitt like you show, like, because sometimes pitchers go like that to hide what they're doing, or like catchers will give signs to the pitcher, and maybe it's tipping it so that the other people can see it or something.
Yeah.
That's weird.
I don't know. I don't think it's a new phrase, though, because I grew up hearing it, and my parents only use old phrases. Okay, another question. Oh, this is a good one. Vicky Mallon wants to know, are you still obsessed with Jonathan Chichu, even though he's been retired for several years?
I mean, Chichu is one of the great names in hockey history. Teemu Selanne. I used to sing songs about Teemu and Chichu, and because you hear it yourself, those are great names. But hockey, what's nice is it just keeps replenishing. They've gone from Reijo Ruotsalainen and Ilkka Sinisalo. Now we have Capo Kakko. I think what more do I need to say about it? But I'm glad that other sports are getting into it too. There is now a Pitt football player, a wide receiver. His name is not a nickname, right? His name is Shocky Jacques Louis.
Ooh, that's fun.
I mean, So, yeah, to answer your question, yes. In broad strokes, I'm still obsessed with that and all great names in sports.
There's a guitar player named Khaki King. Tony, have you heard of her?
No.
Yeah.
I also have an obsession with ridiculous names. So, yeah, I like hearing all of these.
Wait, what are your favorite ridiculous names, Tony?
One that a couple come to mind immediately that I remember that were, I don't think they're still around playing, but college football names that I remember seeing a couple years ago. There was a guy, there was a Jasmar Clax. And then another one I really enjoyed was Kobe Buffalo Meat, which sounds fake, but he was a Native American player, and it's just that's a wonderful name, Kobe Buffalo Meat.
I mean, you want one that's quintessentially along the lines of DeBrickashaw Ferguson is a real guy's name. DeBrickashaw Ferguson is awesome. I mean, there's a guy named Alex Leatherwood now. I mean, that's pretty good, just for, the way what it evokes in your brain.
And Tony, remember back in the early days of the pandemic when we were going on walks, we came across this sign, an actual sign for
I was thinking about this the other day.
For someone's podcast called Rita's World or something. And it's this older actress, former actress, who hosts it. And she had been married to someone named Doodles Weaver.
Oh,
but
my goodness.
Didn't you look it up, Tony? And didn't Doodles Weaver play someone with a great name?
That seems vaguely familiar. Let's see. Let me look this up.
Hope you don't go to the same source as your bad info from before.
No promises.
I'm also thinking about Fitzsimmons's thing from several minutes ago. And I always was like, well, I got to come to grips with the fact that the lights are going to go out. And what am I going to do when that happens? And also on the other side of death, if I'd led a more pious life, I feel like those people are going to be like, it'll be cool for them when they get to heaven, but it'll be way cooler for me as a cynic of it. Won't it? Like they'll be like,
yeah.
It'll be like the lights go out and they'll be like, oh, goodbye, Jesus. I did everything I could. I tried to be good. And then the lights will go out and then they'll come back on and you'll be in heaven. You'll be like, great, thank good. But I'll be like, holy hell, it exists? I'm glad to be wrong. I'm wrong. Eternal life. Who's going to be happier?
Right.
Dave Dameshek,
You're right.
That's who.
Right, because they have expectations, and expectations are what really suck the joy out of a moment.
Right. Exactly. But then I also think, are we going to, I really am hoping that we're going to have like a Matrix kind of thing where they'll just boop, 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 boop. They'll just download our intellect and emotions onto a chip and throw us all out into space, and we'll just live out there. Planet Earth will be used up, but no matter. We'll all just live forever as computer chips floating around on some satellite or something.
That
Right?
works too. That would be interesting as well.
Like in The Matrix.
Yeah.
Did you see The Matrix? I'm starting to feel like Allison was looking to kind of get past that one. Maybe it's because it was a lame point, but maybe it's because she never saw The Matrix.
I did see
What
The
do you
Matrix.
think, Thax? You did
I
see
have
it.
seen it.
All right. She seems like, it seems sincere. Right,
I have.
man?
I've been red-pilled.
I believe her.
I saw it late, though. I think I saw it because I'm like, I need to see this movie that everyone is referring to all the time.
See, there you go. You didn't want to be left out of the loop.
That's right.
When I saw it opening night, Jerry Seinfeld was there.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's
I can drop a name too. Marilyn Rice Cup.
Marilyn Rice Cup has become my real friend. She was a guest on the show, and we spun off into a real friendship. We've gotten coffee 3 times, and we
You're
text.
better than this.
and
you
voice-
don't need to be bragging about famous people.
You're just jealous.
Well, I am. That's true.
Tony, did you find out who Doodles Weaver played? Because if not, I have another question.
I have. Okay, so I think what you're thinking of, it's not somebody that he played, but this may surprise you. Doodles, only a nickname. He's got quite a mouthful of a real name. His real name is Winston Sheffield Glendenning Dixon Weaver.
Love it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what I was thinking of. But
I'm not seeing any sort of ridiculous name of anything that he played. Yeah. He had his own variety show called The Doodles Weaver Show on NBC.
You know, the way that these people, we don't know who they are at all, and they're posting about their podcast by hammering a sign into a tree, that is depressing. That is depressing how much, like, you can have your own variety show and you can be famous, but the younger people, they don't know at all who you are. And I'm not even that young, and I don't know who these people are.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, this was the 50s, so it was a while ago.
I mean,
Wait, so who are you bummed out for?
I'm bummed out.
Doodles?
I mean, probably for myself.
For what? Because you see in Doodles where you're going to be in 30 years?
Yeah, I'm gonna be the modern day
Okay.
Doodles. Both of us, Dave.
Lady Doodles.
Yeah, both of us, because you know we've attained a little bit of, and same with you, Tony. We're all a little bit known, but we're going to be washed away by the sands of time.
This is why we had children, though. Don't you see, Allison? That's what I've told so many people. They're like, I don't want to have kids. I don't want to have kids. What are you? They're like, listen, it's an investment. Even if you don't love it, I happen to have enjoyed it immensely. But even if it's not for you in the moment, consider it a long-term play for yourself, not for them, because short of the heroin that we keep talking about, what are you going to be doing when you're 71? You're going to be watching them do stuff. You know, you're not going to be doing anything. You're not going to be an active senior. You're going to be lazing around. You're not going to have energy or otherwise. But you'll pick up the phone. What are you doing, child? Hey, grandkids, are they going to come over? Again, something to look forward to, Allison,
Yeah.
you see?
All right, listen, we got 3 more questions. Let's just bang through these, then do it just me or everyone, and then we're out. Megan Parkansky, Aaron Rodgers, go.
I think, as much as I've loved Aaron Rodgers and considered him for a long time the most talented guy playing the position, and I actually enjoy his sense of humor too. He's not the same hardo A personality of like Tom Brady or Dan Marino yelling at teammates. So not to say either one of those guys isn't a nice guy, but within the context of a game, sometimes you're like, you get into the game, like that kind of stuff. Rodgers never was as much that. I think he was kind of a jerk the past couple of weeks with the like, no one would ever come to Green Bay. No one wants to play here if it weren't for me. Like, really not doing the franchise a solid, are you, Aaron? Like, no one would want to play here if not for you. I get that you have an ego, but you're also really putting a stink on the town where the people, as I say, I don't think that Pittsburgh Steelers players care about the Steelers legacy as much as I care about it. I've been rooting for them for decades. They've only been on the team for a year and a half. But I also think it's a little weird. Like, if you're a fan, like, yeah, the guy, our hero, the best player on our team is the guy who said no one would ever want to live here where we all live right now. Yay. Like, it's a weird message.
Yeah, it's rude. All right, Nora Seidman has a question. I feel like maybe we covered in past episodes, but it was years in the rear view. Why did Daves of Thunder stop recording? It was my favorite podcast after Allison Rosen's Your New Best Friend.
People ask me this all the time. I have no update. As soon as I have an update, I hope we'll get to keep doing it.
Wait, you brought it. It got brought back, right? It was resuscitated.
Yes, we did it 12 years ago. Then we took off like, 9 years. Then we came back like 3 years ago. And now we haven't done it in almost a year once again. You know, I got to talk to you about this Patreon and all that kind of stuff. Got to figure it out. It's about making scoots, you know. It's, making... Feeney's doing his stuff, I'm doing my stuff, and we got to find the window. But also, I don't know. It's tough because I'd love to do it, but then you start thinking like, and Feeney, wouldn't it be nice to make a little bit of money off of it as men of justice? So I don't know, but I hope we'll at least do some more going forward. But I have no update for you of when that will actually get going.
When you brought it back, how many episodes did you do?
We did, I don't know, probably 40 or 50, something like that.
So it was going
At least.
for a while.
Oh, yeah. I bet you we did it for close to 2 years, something like that. After in the reboot,
right?
The New Testament, as we called it. Yeah.
Who was producing it?
Your old pals, Gary and Donovan.
Huh.
Loxamana.
Nice. Okay. Nathan S. would like to know, Creep of the Week.
Ooh.
I don't
creep of
have the
week.
sound effect.
Can we combine one since we have something else to get to anyway? Why don't I just say Aaron Rodgers? Loved you, but it doesn't mean. See, this is what happens when people get so insulated and people don't tell them no enough. Then they can get away with saying stuff like, no one would ever live here if it weren't for me. And the people who live in that town who like him are like, yay, that's right. And then you're going to retire in a year and leave here forever. And we're going to live out the rest of our decades. And our children and their children will all grow up here. But thank you anyway. Creep.
Does he deserve a hey, go fuck yourself?
I mean, you could go in that direction if you wanted to.
Hey,
sure.
Aaron Rodgers. Dave, you say it. You say it.
Well, how about I put the Dameshek spin on it. Hey, Aaron Rodgers, you're a jerk.
Hey, go fuck yourself.
There we
I
go.
like that almost better than the Han Solo Edition blaster. That works, yeah.
And Dave, do you have a just me or everyone?
I do. I have a bunch of grievances that I can share with you, of course. One that came to mind for...
Well, hang on.
Oh, yeah.
Hang on.
Oh.
Sometimes I ponder on something I have thought or done. Is it just me or everyone?
So this is just me or everyone, where it's something that you do and you wonder if other people do it. But if you have grievances, we can also do that.
Well, I mean, they kind of blend together.
Okay.
I curse at my 21st century car a lot because I don't understand why she is such a pain in the ass about the seatbelt all the time. Like it wasn't a law last century. Okay, now it's a law, but I don't need all the noise letting me know about the seatbelt, you know. And she's always like, "Bing, bing," and then she gets more aggressive with me if I don't adhere by her wishes. Then she bongs louder at me, "Bing, bing, bing, bing!" Like, shut up. I heard you the first time. How many times are you going to shout at me with your bings and bongs and otherwise when I need my mother, I'll call her in Pittsburgh. Leave me alone, you dumb car. What are you telling me about what I need?
Yeah.
And by the way, your friends, the balloons that'll pop out if I'm in a wreck, they'll save me anyway. I don't need you binging and bonging at me all the time. Does that drive everybody crazy, the binging like that?
I mean,
or is it just me?
My car has me wrapped around its car finger so much that I try not to even hear them. But occasionally, because I have two kids in car seats in the back of the car, so we'll be driving if I'm in the passenger seat and one of them is crying because they dropped their pacifier or they can't reach something, I will undo my seatbelt. It feels very dangerous. Undo my seatbelt while we're on the freeway, flip around, try to grab whatever they need. And then my car is definitely yelling at me. And it's like, I heard you, but it feels appropriate to what feels like a high stakes situation.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, that's one that's bugged me for a long time, and I guess the takeaway is I should wear my seatbelt. But man, it's just like, if it's like, hey, just run the kids over real quick to school because they're a couple blocks away in the car. If I do that, it's like, can you leave me alone? I'm trying to have a nice morning chat with the kids about what's upcoming, and you're interrupting with beep, bing, 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 bing. I'm on surface roads. Don't worry. I'm only going 15, 20 miles an hour. It's not going to be that big a collision anyway.
I have been told that eventually it will stop banging and bonging, but I've never hung in there that long to hear it stop.
Oh shit! Yeah, she'll eventually settle down after she's like, I've had it with this guy. Someone else do something. I'm out. But she'll give it at least 3 good go rounds, and like I say, the third one, she really gets pissy.
Yeah,
and
it's double
like,
time.
Come on. Yeah, have some dignity. You just raising your voice at me does not make your message any clearer to me. In fact, it makes me more resentful of your message.
Tony, how do you feel about this?
I don't really have too much of this happen. I feel like the only time it really happens is sometimes when the old beef lord is in the passenger seat and he'll make, he'll trigger the beeping because there's no seatbelt. I need to get one. I know there are like seats you can get for dogs. I just haven't found one that I like to strap him in well. So he's just
Really?
kinda-
I thought that was the high point of a dog's life was to get to hang its head out of the window. I thought that was
he actually doesn't really care though. I'll open it for him. He just doesn't care.
Can I just throw another thing at you because
Sure.
I've been trying to work this out. I I had to go to a friend's birthday. Didn't have to, but I did. It was, I know, COVID and everything else, but we're all vaccinated and we were all masked and all that stuff. But we happened to be in a Las Vegas, one of those massive, hotel casino kind of things. And it was hot because it was August. And so it's a weird blend. I've started to get more and more nauseated by people at the beach and at the swimming pool shirtless, and like there's no other way. But it really reached another level for me because in the middle of the day, you're sitting in like a casino or whatever, and now people just walk through in their beach wear. And I don't know if we've gotten too comfortable in COVID now, like people wearing their jammies to the grocery store and stuff, or if I'm the one who's changed and haven't seen enough people in my company over the last 18 months. But I find it repugnant, and I think we need to make some laws that, like, you cannot walk around with – I mean, you can't go into 7-Eleven with no shirt. I think we need to figure out something to help me deal with, like, I can't – and you're going to deal with this with your kids if you haven't already, Allison. Like, you go to those places like Great Wolf Lodge, where it's like an indoor slides and everything else, and I can't enjoy it because it's like strangers' feet are all around us.
Yeah.
And I want to throw up, and I can't stomach it. And the shirtlessness, and we need to have standards as a society. And I you know what I don't do? I don't parade myself around. I'd like everybody else to meet me here and just wear one of them workout things that guys now wear in the pool. Like I see guys more and more wearing a shirt in the pool. I think it's because they're vain, but it also spares my eyes of the disgust that lays underneath.
I think you should have a rule: no shirt, no shoes, no check.
Oh, I like that. I think that's going to be my new rule. It also just, in a general way too, it really is like, I'm not a fashionista except when it comes to sports uniforms. I know all, but I also happen to have a weird gift in life. I don't know where it came from. I have zero clue why I'm so good at it, but I can pick out a dress for a woman like nobody's business. It is, you could ask my wife, you could ask ex-girlfriends. I am 100% on the money. I've never brought a dress home for anybody as a gift and then been like, it's not my style. They're like, oh my God, dude, this is just great. How do you know how to even find this? And I don't know. I don't have the answer. I just got a gift that I didn't ask for. But as such, I'm also aware of like, I can't believe that 80 or 90% of the population can't do the math on like, just because you like an item of clothing doesn't mean you should wear it. Every item of clothing is not for every person to try. I'm sorry that that's true. I don't wear tank tops for a reason because this is my arm. That's why. This is what I wouldn't do that to you or to myself. Other people need to do some of that too. You know what I'm saying? Like the bikinis ain't for everybody.
YouTube.com/Allison Rosen if you want to see Dave Dameshek's arm, but this is going to come out audio-wise. I don't know why I said audio-wise. It's going to come out on audio. Look, my video guy is out of town, so it's going to come out on audio, and then it's going to be like the following week we're going to have the video. So you're going to have to envision his arm for a week.
Spoiler
and then
alert,
you can go
it's
see
skinny.
it. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I had never heard of the Great Wolf Lodge, and then this week I heard about it from one of my friends with benefits. That's a collective name of my patron
Marilyn
people.
Ricegum?
No. I heard
What
about
do you
it.
call her, ML? She call me Mayor.
I call her Mary. I call her
Mary.
Mary Lynn.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah,
Cubby.
but maybe. What'd you say?
Cubby.
Anyway, this is the second time now that I've heard this week that I've heard of the Great Wolf Lodge. What is it?
It's, as I say, it's a big kind of
a chain?
resort thing. Yeah, they have them in different parts of the country, and it's just like a bubbled water slides of all sorts, and it's nice. It's one of those places you don't leave kind of thing. Like it's got different video games for the kids at night, and you eat there and everything else, and it's a hotel, but its main thing is this is its big water slide thing, and it smells like exactly like every hotel pool, which is not good. When you walk into that room,
Chlorine.
it's like, whoa, that chlorine, and I don't know what, like old pork, combined kind of smell. It's like, oh, I went there and I walked in the door with the little ones. This is just before COVID, and I went there and I really felt like I'm Father of the Year, because I tamped down all of my issues and didn't say boo to anybody. I just sat there and took the stench, all the bare feet, all the wet, all of it. And I just sat there and was like, have fun, kids.
That is so good. That's growth.
It was awful. It was really a dark couple of days for me.
Dave, it was so nice to catch up with you. Please don't be a stranger.
I'll try not to be.
Try.
Did it go all right, Thaxman? What was this? Give it a letter grade.
I have some notes, but we'll talk once we hit stop.
Okay. All right. That's fair. I appreciate you not publicly shaming me like this.
I mentioned that I'm a Patreon, but what I forgot to tell you is if you sign up for an annual subscription, you get 2 months free. So it's 12 months for the price of 10. I am also on Cameo. And if you like what you're hearing, please make sure you're subscribed or following in whatever app you listen so that you get the episodes automatically so you don't miss one. Tell your friends, leave us a nice comment. We read them on the show. 5 stars, please. Follow me on social media at Allison Rosen on Twitter and Instagram. Dave, where can we find you? What should we keep our eyes open for?
Best thing you could do to help out your old pal is follow -3 and Extra Points wherever you find your podcasts, social media, Dameshek, and on Instagram. I think it's D Dameshek, I'm pretty sure. But listen, what a play. That's not the point. The point is what a pleasure to catch up with you, Allison Rosen, and get to know the Thaxman just a little bit. Pleased to see you're thriving the way you are, muzzle tub on the 2 little ones. And yeah, once this COVID ends in, 2038, let's get together and do some smack.
Let's do it. Tony, where do we find you?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram at
Tony Thaxton.
And my podcast, Bizarre Albums, every Tuesday. And if you're in the LA area this coming Thursday, I am playing drums with Jonah Ray at the Sardine in San Pedro. It's a comedy/music show, playing some punk versions of Weird Al songs that Jonah's been doing. So come out to that if you're in the LA area. Hopefully the show still happens.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Listeners, thank you for listening. I love you. You matter. Goodbye.
Hey, do you know about the Allison Rosen show? We had a good time, but now we gotta go. Yeah, Allison Rosen is your new best